Welcome to the first of 3 video tutorials which will be covering the full creation of a female character concept. In this first part, we'll be brainstorming shape ideas by creating a bunch of rough and really quick sketches. At this stage, we don't want to spend more than, let's say, 5 minutes per character, so obviously the fewer brush strokes the better. We want to let our imagination flow here, so it doesn't even matter if the sketches don't look much like an actual character. As long as one of them inspires you and gives you an idea for your character, then it's a win. Before starting, I always make sure that I am as sharp as I can, so don't hesitate to have a cup of coffee or play some high tempo music. It really does help, and I actually do that all the time. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, as you start to see me draw here, I'll try to give you more of an insight on my process rather than trying to explain exactly what my plan is, because, well, I simply don't have any, to be honest. One thing I try to do here, and as you can see, this is fast forwarded. It is not my real painting speed, but what I'm trying to do here is come up with accidents almost. So one thing I would recommend is that you use a brush that has an interesting shape. So ditch the round brush and try to use something that might give you accidental results. So in my case here, this is more of a watercolor brush that has, its blend mode set to hard light, so every time I go over an old brush stroke, it just darkens it. And since the edges of my brush are really, not smooth and a little bit hard to predict, this is something that's really great for this step, because I probably wouldn't use this brush if I were polishing my model, polishing my concept. But for this particular step, where accidents are actually a good thing, this is really perfect. So something else to keep in mind when you start these, it's always better to have some sort of guidelines. I find it's always easier to work within boundaries than be left to do whatever you want. For this particular case, my boundaries are fairly simple. I just know it's a female character, like I said. It's probably the main character for a game. It's a human shape, so I'm not going to create like weird creatures with multiple limbs. It's going to be 2 arms and 2 legs. And I probably want her to be, if she's going to be the main character of a game, I probably want her to have an armor of some sort, be able to defend herself, and be able to attack. So have her, wear a weapon or have some weird claws on her hands or whatnot. I don't know, but at least I know this, and this is something I don't have to think about when I start a new sketch. Also, something that's really interesting about this process is you'll see that the more you do, the more the ideas will come to your head quickly, and it's just a matter of being inspired by your old work. So if you start, if this is your first time, obviously you're gonna have a bit of a harder time. Maybe the ideas won't be flowing as much. But a quick tip for this that I use, and it might not be that obvious when you see me actually do it, but that's something that I really think about when I do these kind of things, is whenever you're done with a character, to give you other shape ideas or whatnot, look at the previous character, look at the negative space in between, look at the silhouette, and then use the silhouette as a new element for your new character. So if that's really an obvious example, but if you look at between the legs, it looks kind of like a horn. So for my next character, that idea just popped in my mind, and that's where this is coming from. So more of a pointy character or whatnot. And for the next one, I would look at the outline of this character and maybe use some element of it. But yeah, try to use that, and actually, for me at least, it works really well. And if you're running out of ideas, just try to do that. Maybe that'll give you an extra boost of creativity. One more thing also that can help you is just look out for stuff that's around your desk. Like anything can be turned into an idea or a shape for something for your character. So this particular one, for example, the big head, that was an object that was on my desk, and it kind of looked like that, and this is where it came from. And then the rest of the character got driven by those same kind of shapes, and really you just have to look around, and there's so much stuff around you, and use, you know, part of it, just copy it completely. You copy part of it and turn it into something, you know, that's on your character, maybe a part of the armor, or, you know, whatever. Now during this process, you know, of course not all the characters are going to be interesting, and there might be some characters that you look at and they look like complete crap, like this particular one, that, you know, the ninth one. But what you have to think in mind is that when you do choose your final character, you know, when you settle on one, there's always something that you can reuse from the other ones. So never dismiss something completely. Don't erase anything. Never do that. Just keep everything you have. If you're just not feeling it, then jump onto the next one and maybe come back later, you know, to the one that you didn't quite like as much, or don't. But there might always be something there that you can use. Remember, this is the only step that nobody else but you will ever get to see. So allow yourself to fail. It's all good, and this is exactly what this step is for. You know, in all the failures will come out a great concept. And in this case, as you saw, it's going to be the fourth one from the top, the one that looks like a jousting knight. And I just thought that this idea was really cool to transpose into more of a sci-fi universe. So it's gonna be a jousting knight without a horse, and just, you know, big legs, big robotic legs that just charge towards their opponent. And this is what I'm gonna be doing in the next part of this video tutorial. And in the next part, I'm gonna be starting from this and creating the full black and white concept. And I will see you guys next time.